Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Coronavirus and Retail, this community forum. This is the 5th community forum.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And unfortunately, it looks like it's not going to be I can tell you, it is not going to be our last. But they will end, or at least the coronavirus part of it will end. So these community forums are your opportunity to ask us questions, for you to share ideas. If you're feeling particularly anxious or particularly hopeful and you want to share that, this is a great place to do it. Susan so ably runs the computer. I am instructed, although I don't always listen to the instructions.
Never does.
That's not true. I often do, but not always. Look and see what's going on. I can't help. I like to see who's on and what's going on and all that sort of thing. So, there we go.
Yeah.
I can see.
We've got Alice and Betsy saying hi.
Hi, Alice. Hi, Betsy. Who else?
We've got 25 people
25 people?
Chris is
Okay,
on, and
right.
more and more people piling on.
Yeah,
Next 5
that's
seconds,
awesome.
so.
That's awesome.
We've
Welcome,
got
everybody.
Gilbert.
Hey, Gilbert. Gilbert is one of our WhizBang certified retail coaches. Okay, there we go. And I see that people are asking questions already. That's wonderful. Again, this is your place to ask questions and your place to share your best ideas. So I see another one of our coaches, Kathy Campbell, has joined. In the
Dude, stop it.
I've got a phone. I'll do it on my own. Okay. All right. Well, if that's the case, then ask us a question.
Yeah,
I can start to talk. Okay.
We've got a great question from Gilbert. He said that one of the things that he's hearing from the players in his industry, which is dancewear, is that they're going to have the mother of all clearance sales.
Yes.
And depending on the category, we may not have any choice but to join in. Any thoughts on how to do this creatively without setting up an ongoing discount mentality or killing your margins or things like that?
That's a great question. And there is no right answer, Gilbert, or for everyone. And this morning in the podcast, I shared that I listened to a Management One webinar on vendor negotiations, and they had a number of players, a couple of them from fashion, although I don't think dancewear is quite as seasonal as fashion. But what one of the gentlemen said, and this person was, what one of the people said was that there's going to be a lot of pain to go around.
Yeah.
Right? So, in fashion, Q2, Q3, I mean, even Q3 is already sort of totally messed up. And there's all this inventory out there in the world, out there in the world. And his thought is that the pain is going to need to be spread around so that everybody was going to have to take a hit, because all of this merchandise, if you're in seasonal, as our friend Maureen Doran said, she's got bananas that
bunch of yellow bananas turning
brown by the day. So having said that, really what your manufacturers and your vendors are saying is, we've got all this stuff and we need to get rid of it so we can bring new, fresh goods into the pipeline. So the first thing that I would say, and of course you chime in, is talk to your vendors. That was the number one lesson or thought that came from this panel. We're all in it together. Don't assume that you have any leverage. Don't assume that you know what the answer is going to be. Open lines of communication are so important. Now,
ask for support. Ask for markdown support. That would be one definite thing to do. Ask for markdown support.
Yes, and that was one of the things that they suggested. It said, look, if you're going to have the mother of all clearance sales, now, we want to participate. Actually, we have no choice but to participate. Let us help you move those goods by giving us the deep discount and I like extended terms. So, give it to us at a great price so that we're not competing with you, and give us great terms, because if we don't play, meaning independent dancewear stores and the manufacturers and the wholesalers. If we're not all playing together, somebody's going to get screwed. And, you know, the manufacturers and the wholesalers, the jobbers, they don't want to, we hope they don't want to screw the independent retailers. But so this is going to be a really, really fine line of working together so that everybody takes a little bit of a hit.
Yeah. Gilbert says, could you define markdown support? What I mean by that is, so he just like they give you some money back for the markdowns that you take. So
yes, they give you a deep discount on the goods in the first place. Or they give it to you on consignment. They offer to buy it back if you don't. So, you know, all of these are possible strategies. And, you know, I'll share another story from the past that had to do with partnerships. So Platinum Mastermind Group alumni Russ Herman decided that he needed to build his margins by, his goal was 3% or 3 points, which he got. But what he did was he approached all of his vendors and said, look, I want to sell more of your stuff, but here's what I'm trying to do. You know, we can be partners and you can support me, and the people who support me are the people I'm going to support. So rather than going to his vendors and saying, this is what I need for me to keep doing business with you, he said, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to find partners in this situation. And guess what? It worked. Some of the people didn't want to play ball. What that signaled to Russ was that they weren't partners. And I think the same thing's going to hold true all throughout, you know, the rest of the year, even into 2021. Having honest, frank conversations, not going to your vendors and your manufacturers as a supplicant, but going to them as a potential partner is the way to create the conversation. Yeah. You know, and one of the other insights that one of the things that I learned from our whole yo-yo adventure is this whole idea of shit flows uphill, right? And in this case, in our world, the customer really sort of sets the tone. Right now, people can't get out and shop, so they're not shopping. And that hurts the retailer. And when that happens, that hurts the wholesaler. And when that happens, that hurts the manufacturer. You see, once upon a time, I thought I was sort of a man on an island down here. But then what I realized is that when I didn't pay or when I couldn't pay, it hurt everybody up the food chain. And this is what's going to happen. And really that whole idea of having honest conversations, you know, sometimes painful conversations is one of the things that's going to happen for everyone to get out of this, you know, as well as possible. Now, here's one other thing that I want to say before we move on or continue this conversation is you're going to find out who your friends are. Right? You're going to find out who your partners are. I alluded to that this morning in my podcast where I was talking about the right sizing of retail. You know, when times are good and there's lots of money and everybody's spending and there's lots of stores and, you know, when the world is rosy, people can get away with things. When things get tight, you really find out who your partners are. And one of the conversations, I did an interview with Bob Susan, who he and his family own 4 sleepwear stores in Edmonton. And the words that he used I thought were perfect. He was using it in the context of a landlord who wasn't being a partner, but the words were correct in the context of your suppliers also. He said, there's going to be a reckoning. And there will be a reckoning. What I think most retailers will find is they're going to have tighter merchandise mixes, and it's going to be because they're going to find out who their friends are. Right now, the people who are your friends are the people you're going to support when this is all over. The people who are just trying to get the most from you and are not cooperative, you're going to be a lot less hesitant to buy from them when this is done. A lot more hesitant, I'm sorry. So I think there's going to be a reckoning. And when you go into those conversations, it's just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, great. All right, so a couple things I have to say. First of all, Gilbert, your comment was really interesting. From what I'm hearing, we're going to have the mother of all clearance sales once this is all over. I recommend you start your mother of all clearance sales right now. And the reason that I want you to start doing it now is, heck yeah, you're right. As soon as everybody's back open again, there's going to be a lot of voices clamoring for the attention of your customers. A lot of the big players, a lot of the, all those players that are in major shutdown mode and they can't react as quickly as we can, they're going to be clamoring for attention from your customers. So right now, while we still have their attention, is a great time to start working on clearing out merchandise that you have in stock right now. Like, who was it that just said, it was, yes, somebody said they just packed up 7 tubs of Easter. Kirsten just said she packed up 7 tubs of Easter. So the stuff that you have right now to mark down, I would get started on that right now. You'll be able to take a much lower markdown, maintain higher margins, have much more attention of your, attention share for your customers, and start to move stuff right now. If you have the capability of shipping out of your store, doing curbside pickup, even if you're still open, sales are lower for lots of you. So start doing it now. Kirsten, I would take everything out of the tub and I would start taking pictures of it. And one of the brilliant ideas that one of the folks had last week was to create a Facebook group that is your like your outlet store, like your clearance or your outlet store. And so I would start putting it, I would put all those items up right now because people will buy now for next Easter. So take the money now. Don't put it in tubs.
Don't put it in tubs. Don't put it in tubs in general. What we really have is this is almost like the holidays. People say, when should I take markdowns in the holidays? And the answer is always, it's a lot easier to sell something at 20% off 3 days before Christmas than it is to sell it at 50% off 3 days after Christmas. So, there's that parallel right there. And and I agree with Susan 100%, don't put it in a tub because it'll just sit there. That's wasted money. You wouldn't take $500 and put it in an envelope and put it in the safe, or maybe you would. The metaphor isn't correct, but I do like Susan's idea a lot. And I think it was Erin Beale. That was her.
She's on.
Was it? No, it wasn't Erin. It was. I don't remember who it was. Teresa Cooper. I don't remember who it was.
I think it was Erin. But she says, "Hey, I'm here."
But whoever's idea it was, I thought it was flat out brilliant, and I think that group could be part of an ongoing strategy that you use forever.
Sure.
I mean, right now we're talking about things to do during the pandemic, but one of the things that I keep talking about in the podcast is you're learning lessons and you're developing systems and you're creating things that you're going to use after this is over. And I think that's one of them.
And I love the idea of calling it an outlet because that really implies to not only your clearance goods, but maybe you could strategically buy into that outlet. Once this is all over, you strategically buy into closeouts and clearance from your vendors and maintain that. It's a lot of extra money. So
absolutely, I love that.
Another great question here from Shauna, right up your alley, Bob.
Okay.
The stores in
love questions up my alley.
The stores in my company are set up to be very hands-on and interactive, with touching products, trying things on, demoing them, things like pens, notebooks, eyewear, other travel goods. We've been strategizing about switching our approach once we reopen to minimize or eliminate germ spread. Love to hear some other ideas. So, we did a ton of that. We taught games. We had demo toys. We were throwing things at people. And what are some ideas to help to maintain that sense of fun and excitement, but eliminate that germ spread?
Sure. Well, one of the things, and there's sort of 2 tracks to this answer. And one of the things, and this applies to Gilbert's question too, we're seeing so much more social selling and so much more educational content going on. So Gilbert, you can do a lot with social selling. You can do a lot with Facebook Lives. You can do a lot with that to Susan's point, before it starts. But now, who asked the question? Shauna. So Shauna, there's to Susan's point, there are things that you can do. One of the things that you can do is create videos for your store. In-store signage, in-store videos. Monitors don't cost a lot right now. But if you can create marketing pieces in the store that tell the story, I think it really brings people to the products that you want to sell, thereby minimizing this sort of, touching stuff all over the place. Signage is important. Is that what you were going to say? Videos.
Videos is what I would do. I would do demo videos.
Yeah. We used to sell, like Susan said, lots and lots of toys and lots of games that needed demonstrating, and we had lots. And this is when you had to create a VHS tape to do it. But, just all of our most popular products, we would make a demo loop for. And that's one way that you can do that. Because otherwise, if you have a store that's dependent on people picking up and touching and using, that's a great thing. One of the things that I'd encourage you to do is have policies and procedures around keeping it clean, wiping down, things like that. But I really think that by directing people's attention through signage and videos, I think that will reduce the amount of touching by quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that's great. Stephanie is talking about it and talking about having a one-way flow through her store. A lot of people are talking about that. I think it's tricky. If you don't have a big store, people they're independent, man. They will push through anything other than like a wall. So, you can try tracking it, but I don't know if it's going to work very well, but you could try. I think that's a fun idea. Other people are talking about their markdown strategies.
Another thing that Shauna might do, and is have 2 or 3 items of the day. So rather than just having the whole store open, you've probably got major categories, pens, toys. I don't know what your categories are, Shauna. But rather than just, letting people just sort of be drawn to a particular item and pick it up and use it and possibly infect that item, you could have in each category an item of the day. Now, this is important. You don't have to put a discount with the item of the day. It's just a featured item of the day. Mm-hmm. In that way, so let's just say it's a pen. Your featured pen of the day, you would have it in a designated place. You would give it some chops, so to speak. And then
visual excitement.
Visual excitement.
I call that visual merchandising, Bob. In the retail game.
I was never much of a visual merchandiser, ask Susan.
Sorry, just had to tease you a little bit there.
Chops. We're going to go with chops. Give it to some space that has some chops.
Oh, and then, Lordy. See what I have to work with here, people?
It's true. You should have seen me when she started working with us in retail. She was rolling her eyes about every 5 minutes. But you see what I'm asking you to do is so find an item in every category, give it some space, give it some attention, and then lead the attention of your customers to that item. I'm not saying you shouldn't sell other things, but it's different having 5 or 6 items. Let's say you have 5 or 6 major categories, 5 or 6 items in your store. Each category has a featured item. It's different than letting people just walk around and grab things off the shelf. I think what you'll find is less touching if you use that strategy.
So Ken has a question. He says, any thoughts for retailers that are non-essential and not allowed to offer curbside service?
Do you want to take it or do you want me to take it?
Well, Ken, the first thing that I would say to you, I'm assuming you're allowed to still ship product because I'm just assuming that you're allowed to still. You say no curbside. You're still allowed to ship products. So I would definitely be doing Facebook Lives. A lot of people have been talking about their Facebook Lives. I would be doing that using a program maybe like Comment Sold, or even just even just comment which size you want or what color you want or how many you want in the comment to get it. So I would be definitely doing Facebook Live. I would be working on calling and doing some personal clienteling. Pick your top 10% of your customers or your top 100 customers. Take a look at what they've bought in the past from you. Make the phone call. And you don't start the phone call with,
hey, you want to buy something?
Hey, you want to buy this thing for me? No. Just like with the 6 steps to the perfect purchase, you start out with a greeting. You start out with the warm establishing the relationship, or in this case, reestablishing your relationship. And, authentically, I hope you want to know, hey, Bob, how you doing? I hope you guys are okay. I hope you and your family are well. Just checking in on you, see if there's anything I can do for you, seeing if there's anything you need from the shop. We're ready to ship. That's it's a genuine offer. So that's something you can do, even though you're not allowed to open your doors, and even though you're not allowed to do curbside pickup, sell on the phone, and then ship. Get a website up, get an e-commerce site up, get Shopify. You can get them going really, really fast. So try that.
I have been so impressed with, the people in this community. People are banging up e-commerce sites faster than you can shake a stick at. So think about this. It was Ken, right?
Ken.
So think about this, Ken. So you spend, and there's a thread, I don't know where it is on WhizBang Retailers, but somebody, their top lessons, they put together a website with no experience in less than a week, and they listed their top lessons from it. But if you could put together in the next 3 or 4 days a very basic website, started doing Facebook Lives, started to maybe do some educational content on top of it, do it live, you can start to generate, as Susan said, do some clienteling. Really, I think that will keep you busy. And keep you busy as in work, building that e-commerce Shopify site, assuming that that's what you do, and doing a Facebook Live for an hour a day, or doing a educational show for an hour a day. Putting on your list of things to do, make 5 phone calls to my favorite customers or the people will be open to talking to you. So make a list of money generating ideas, and then just start working the list, start finding out what works and what doesn't. Because, Marie Foley, who is probably on this call, she's everywhere. That we do, and we love Marie. And Marie took our idea and called her top 20 customers, and it didn't go well, which I found surprising. But the point is, it didn't go badly, but it just didn't go as well as she had hoped. But the point here is Marie tried it. It could have just as easily been. It could have just as easily been that Marie called 20 people and got 10 orders. And if that would be the case, then the question is, how can Marie make 50 phone calls in a day, right? So the name of the game right now is hustle. As you're finding out what works with your customers and what works, what works and what doesn't. And, sometimes something doesn't work and you need to tweak it. But every time you do something, particularly if you do something that's outside of your comfort zone, you're learning lessons, you're getting better, you're building your confidence, you're increasing your tolerance for something not working, which is a really important skill to have when things aren't going well.
Yeah, so this is, Carl kind of has the same question as Ken, Carl Tucker.
Yeah.
Right here from in Grand Haven. He says he's not essential. He's no curbside pickup. He doesn't have a shipping department. And as a matter of fact, he's not even supposed to have staff in his store. We know Carl really well. Yeah, so I've got some suggestions for you, Carl. He said, even though I have to know your whole family, which, by the way, I'm about to put them all to work.
Well, I was just going to say, you mean the new shipping department?
Your shipping department, a.k.a. your sons.
And your wife, and you.
And your wife. No, but seriously, Carl, listen to this. This is really important. You guys should be doing Facebook Live selling events. And what you need to do is you can take the stuff from the store, do your Facebook Lives right out of your house, get Carl
in the woods.
Do it in the woods. Go out behind your house. Do a women's clothing fashion show with Sarah. Get the boys to model and do demos on all the technical stuff. You could be killing it. You should be killing it right now with Facebook Live, all right? And then you're gonna take all the orders, and is this a hassle? Is this a pain in the ass? Is this like 10 times more work than every single normal day? Yes. But you could still be generating a ton of income. So then the next day you go in and you ship the stuff out of the store. You bring Sarah, you bring the boys, and you go in and you ship.
So, but
it's hard. But look, this is what our best retailers are doing. People are hustling.
So let's go back.
Oh wow, like 20 new comments since I've been talking. Oh Lord.
So let's go back, because I mean Susan is absolutely correct, and because I'm going against the rules, and I looked, I saw that our friends from Ascent Cycle in Colorado Springs, Business Breakthrough Accelerator graduates are on the call. And they're in sort of the same. So Carl's got an outdoor store, Ascent Cycle bicycles. But, I'm going to go back to something we've been talking about for a couple of weeks that I think is a really important piece of information when it comes to selling online, when it comes to, this whole live thing. There's 2 tracks. One is social selling. And I absolutely agree with what Susan said, is that, you do have a shipping department. You do have models. You've got a beautiful family.
You've got your own Sherpas.
You got your own Sherpas. Carl, I wouldn't be in it if no, I'm just kidding. I was just making a joke. But you do. You have a beautiful family. You have a shipping department. You have goods. But I'd also want you to recognize, so there's 2 tracks in this live video thing. The one track is social selling, and I love social selling. That's how we're generating cash. But we're also using this opportunity to build the emotional bank account. So one of the things that we're trying to do during this whole pandemic is we're trying to make sure that we're really, really showing up for our customers. And what does that mean? What that means is that when you create something that's of value to them, whether it's educational, whether it's distracting, whether it's entertaining, if any time that you give something that's of value to them, it's a deposit into the emotional bank account. And just like with a regular bank account, the more deposits you put in, the more withdrawals you can take out. And whenever you ask somebody for money, it's a withdrawal, which is why I think it's kind of a mistake to only do social selling. What you want to do is you want to do social selling, make withdrawals, but you also want to make more deposits. So, Carl, you've been you are an experienced mountaineer.
You are a world-class mountaineer.
You are a world-class mountaineer. I know that you have photos of your expeditions. You could put together a Carl Tucker retrospect where you got on and you did a slideshow where you talked about,
climbing K2.
Climbing K2, or all the things that you've done. You could also interview other West Michigan outdoorsmen. What are your favorite trails in West Michigan?
Where do you love to fish?
It would be West Michigan outdoors, that kind of things. Where do you love to fish? Where you sell kayaks? What are your favorite rivers? You have a whole network of people who have experience in the outdoors. Tap into them. Tap into them and create educational content. And the reason that I talked about Ascent Cycling is the exact same thing holds true for you guys.
Absolutely.
Where are the best places? Where are the best places to bike around Colorado Springs? You could create a whole series of bike maintenance courses. Do-it-yourself courses. We've got quilters. A lot of our quilters are doing great things. People come and they pick up the stuff for the materials for the project, and then they do the project as a group, sort of semi-live. So just recognize there's 2 tracks. One track is educational content that builds the emotional bank account. The other track is social to sell, which is a withdrawal. And so you want to do both.
Yeah. And, you could just like have a party with your
Yeah.
customers. Just go have a party with them one night. So our friend Laura from Sweet Boutique does that. Oh, we should talk about
we should talk
about Laura.
We should talk about Laura.
We alluded to a special
and she said we could share it too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We'll share the link. So
Okay.
So you talk about it. I'll find the link.
So there were two things that Laura did that and
This
Laura,
is about Facebook Live.
This is about Facebook Live. So Laura's in the Platinum Mastermind group, and she first got our attention when somebody said, "Oh, you got to know about this, Laura, from Sweet Boutique in Edmonton or St. Albert's." And she said that, this was a year and a half, 2 years ago. She opens a bottle of Prosecco every Friday night and walks around the store for an hour and a half and talks about all the merchandise, new stuff. And they said, she gets a little tipsy, but she's funny and she's crazy. And we were like, that's the kind of person, the energy that we like in the Platinum Mastermind group. So now she's in the Platinum Mastermind group. Two things that I wanted to talk about that she's done recently.
Start with the virtual pop-up shop.
Okay, that's what I was going to do. And she's given us permission to share this, by the way. So what she didn't want to do was bring in a bunch of new merchandise that she was responsible for selling. So she got together with a local dressmaker. This person.
Children's dresses.
Children's dresses, yes. This local person made children's dresses, and they were stuck with all of these dresses because all of their customers, all of this dressmaker's customers were stuck, didn't have stores that were open. So she did a virtual pop-up shop, and she got this woman's dresses in, and she did social to sell. She didn't have any girl models, so her little boys, she dressed them up as girls. And how many dresses did she sell?
She sold, I think, 47. I think she said 47. And I'm going to post the link.
But do you see the beauty
to that
of this?
Facebook Live, so you can look and see how she did this. Go ahead.
It was all consignment. So she put no money out. And, it was just beautiful. She had a very successful event. She didn't have to invest in inventory. She was able to do something interesting. And we talked about this before this whole thing really ever happened, the pandemic, before it was a pandemic, when we created the very first report about the coronavirus. One of the things that we said was that finding local suppliers is going to be more important than ever. And so, just look around and ask yourself, what local suppliers can I use to do a virtual pop-up shop? Or who can I partner with, my current suppliers, to do a virtual pop-up shop? So you don't need to buy, and doesn't need to be traditional. The point is a virtual pop-up shop is a great way to do something different, to do some social selling without investing in merchandise. The second thing that she did, and I think that Susan's posting it right now, and this is brilliant. One of the things that we teach in marketing is what is timely? How can you piggyback on current events? And so
go ahead.
Laura dressed up as Carol from the Tiger King and did a Facebook Live event, and she nailed it. And she sold all of the stuff on this live event. She sold, she went that, what do they say? Hi there, cats and kittens.
Hey there, all you cool cats and kittens. This is Carol Baskin coming to you live from Animal Rescue Center.
She had the flowers.
You have to watch this, not now while you're in the middle of watching us, but after we're done, you can come back and look at the comments. She's phenomenal.
And it's hilarious. And so what she did was, doing a Facebook Live, she sold everything she had that was in animal prints.
Yeah.
So she would hold up a dress and say, I've got this in size 6, size 8, and size 3. So she wasn't taking orders for the stuff. She was selling the merchandise she had right then and there.
Yeah.
But she did it based on current events, something that's hot. Tiger King is super hot right now. I'm going to dress as Joe Exotic tomorrow, by the way, for the podcast.
You're going to need a wig. You don't have much for a mullet right there, honey.
Never mind. I'm really not.
I'm gonna make him do it now.
But she took a current event and built something fun and funny about it. Now, what I love about this is it fulfills two things. It is a deposit and a withdrawal, right? It's a deposit because it's fun and interesting and entertaining, and it's a withdrawal at the same time. So if you can make your social to sell events really fun and funny and interesting, good things are going to happen. So, and you posted it, I take it?
I did.
Good.
I posted both the dresses, virtual pop-up shop with her local vendor, and the Carol Baskin animal pattern. She calls it items in my gift shop. That's what Carol Baskin says.
Yeah. You know, let me just comment on something else. One of the things that, I don't like this any more than anybody else. I hate it for you. I hate it for us. I hate it for all of us personally. I mean, this whole thing really, it really sucks. What do the boys say? It's a bad look.
Coronavirus is a bad look.
It's a bad look. But one of the things that will come of this, and I hope that you, if you haven't caught my podcast from this morning, that you'll make a point of it, is this whole idea of the world is right-sizing. And a lot of stores that shouldn't be in business are going to go out of business. And the stores that are left are going to be good. There's going to be no room for hobby stores. I don't mean stores that sell hobby. I mean people who have stores because they think it would be fun, that owning a store is like a hobby. And one of the things that I just absolutely love about what's happening is people getting pulled way outside of their comfort zone. But once they get way outside of their comfort zone, they're finding that they're really comfortable being outside of their comfort zone. People doing Facebook Live for the very first time. People building websites. Kathy McKillop shared that Kathy McKillop is one of our coaches. And one of our WhizBang certified coaches, and she coaches one of our Platinum Mastermind group members also. And she was talking about this person. What did she had done? 50 e-commerce sales in the last 3 years, and did
500 last week.
500 in the last 3 weeks or something like that. It's that whole idea of we're being forced to change. We're being forced to try things that we have never been forced to do before. And then we're all going to be better for it when it's over. So
yeah, I have a question to ask all of you, but I just want to point out this comment that Summer just made from Valentine's Shoes. She says, and she's doing so much of this, and she just said here, it's just making me tired.
Oh God. Yes.
Yeah. Oh. It is. It's tiring. We've never worked harder. We know you've never worked harder.
Yes. That's what we mean. It sucks. That's right. So, Susan and I were just taking a dog for a walk, and it was like, last night I slept well, but I had all these dreams, and every single one of them had the coronavirus in it. I mean, none of them were, I was dying of the coronavirus or Susan was dying of the coronavirus.
Good.
Yeah, that's right. No kidding. But it's just this constant, weight on you. In summer, man, totally get it.
And I know that everybody's working harder for every single dollar. Like even those of you who are not closed and are able to, you're able to maintain some sales revenue coming in. You're working harder for every single dollar.
And even if his business is good, when on WhizBang Retailers, when I said who is how are sales in March, there were people that were up significantly. But even if take the business part away from it, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. You still have people you love. You're still worried about getting sick yourself. It's just wearing. And so, Summer, we absolutely understand how you feel. We feel the same way. Yeah. But I'm going to go back to a metaphor I've been using in the podcast a lot, is this idea of backpacking. When you set out on a backpack trip, you always have a fantasy of, it's going to be like The Sound of Music. You're going to be like the Von Tropps waltzing through the Alps. But at the end of the day, if you go on enough trips or your trip is long enough, you're going to get stuck in really, really shitty weather, and it's going to be miserable. And then the name of the game becomes one foot in front of the other. The destination is the trailhead. The trailhead represents a warm meal, a cold beer, a hot shower, but it's just about putting one foot in front of the other. And Summer, that's where we all are. We're all tired. We're all just trying to move forward. So I don't know, I wish I had something profound for you, but we're just all just carrying on. It's just one foot in front of the other.
Yeah. Jill has a great question. She says, what's the most effective way to have people pay you on Facebook Live? So it's an interesting question because she says the word effective. So it's like, I think there are things that are easy and then things that are effective. So like, or most effective, so go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I mean, no. I think there are lots of great apps out there. Like Comment Sold is one of them, and it's a really great way that's super easy and almost no work for you to get payment. You can use PayPal and have them PayPal you for things, and once the PayPal comes in, then you can ship. One of the things that we really, really like is for you just to say, I want the size medium in blue on Facebook, and then you call them for their credit card number. And the reason that we like that is that once you get them on the phone, then you have a chance to chat with them and maybe suggest to sell some other items. So you don't, and when you're just doing direct payments, like maybe you're doing the Facebook Live and then taking the order on your website, or maybe you're doing the Facebook Live and taking the payment via PayPal or Comment Sold. When you talk to them, you get to increase that connection, increase that loyalty, increase that bond, and also potentially sell them something else. So yes, that's probably the most, it's not the easiest, but very effective.
But I do want to say that, the more that we're talking to people who are doing Facebook Lives, because we're not doing social selling on Facebook Live. Although if you do want the Retail Mastery System, the Retail Sales Academy, or any of our products and programs, there are special pricing right now.
Good job, Bob.
I know.
Nice pitch.
I thought I'd just segue into that. As we talk to more and more people who are doing Facebook Lives and who are doing social selling, Instagram Lives, and they're being successful at it, they're not liking the phone option as much because it's more effective, but it's not as efficient. What they're saying, especially depending on the business that you're in, is that people are lonely. They want to talk to someone. Kathy Campbell, one of our coaches, was saying that one of her customers called and she just wanted to talk, right? She was a 90-year-old shut-in and she just wanted to talk. And so, you have to sort of weigh that out yourself, because I do agree with Susan 100% that if you can get them on the phone, you can upsell them, you can do all sorts of, you can add on, you can really do more with them if you're actually talking to them on the phone.
Danielle says,
but if you're busy, you need to process orders faster.
Danielle says, we have a deal where you have to pay your invoice within 24 hours or it goes to the next buyer in line.
Oh, there you go. Great idea, Danielle. Thank you. Yes.
Spencer says, with Shopify, great platform for online selling. You can create invoices. Lots of great ideas in here. So really good stuff. There was a good question back here. It was Hallie. Hallie says, do you think people are going to get used to ordering online and then they won't need brick and mortar stores anymore?
Do you want me to take that?
I do want you to take
Oh my gosh, Hallie, don't get me started, girl. No, they're going to want us more than ever. They're buying from us because people like to buy. People like to shop. People like the experience. But what people really like is they like that in-store experience. Amazon's the big gorilla in the room, but what Amazon is really selling is convenience. And this is what I mean when I say the right sizing of retail. That, so many stores are going to go away, and the stores that are left are going to be the stores that focus on experience. Three things they focus on. They're going to, my opinion. One is fundamentals. you need to be fundamentally strong. You need to have a culture that rocks. Your inventory needs to be tight. Your visual merchandising needs to be great.
Your financial
management. All the things that you can learn about in the Retail Mastery System. You need to be fundamentally strong. I firmly believe that statement that there's going to be no room for hobbyists. If you're not a retail pro, you're not going to survive after this is all said and done. The second two pillars of that new experience are customer experience and relationships. And they're similar, but they're kind of different. And so people are going to want to come into your store. They're going to want to experience your people in the way that they're treated when they're in your store. They're going to want to have a skilled salesperson, walking them through the 6 steps of the perfect purchase. They're going to want to have a highly curated merchandise selection that they can touch and feel. So I have never, ever, ever been more bullish on the future of small to mid-size independent retail stores. Ever. I mean, I've always been, a champion of brick and mortar, but I think that when this is done and the money gets a little tighter and the stores that don't belong in business go out of business, I think if you're great, if you've got a great team and, the right merchandise and it's displayed well and you have all these fundamentals that we're talking about, I think it's going to be golden. It's my opinion. That's my prediction. What are you looking at there?
I'm looking up the answer to a question.
So, again, if you didn't watch my podcast this morning, I would encourage you to go back. It's episode 22. I'm looking for my little
this morning was 22.
This morning was 22 because I addressed this whole issue of, this whole right sizing issue. There's too many stores. Well, Susan, are you done looking it up?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I can quit filling time.
No, I'm answering a question for somebody.
But I think that there's, I kind of alluded to it, is there's too many stores out there that aren't any good. And all those stores are taking up some available cash. So even though there's going to be less cash because the economy isn't as good, there's going to be less stores taking up that cash, and discretionary dollars are going to go where people feel good. And there's going to be less discretionary, or there's going to be more discretionary dollars also, because people are going to be hesitant for quite a while. My prediction, now this is just me predicting, talking off the top of my head, I believe that until there is a vaccine for the coronavirus, people are going to be very, very hesitant to go out into crowds. That means going out to restaurants. That means going to concerts and things like that. But there's going to be discretionary cash to spend. And so they're going to look for experiences, and they'll find experiences in stores like ours.
Yeah, so people are asking about our Facebook Live tech setup, right?
Oh.
And so I'm gonna put some links in here for you. So it's really not that complicated. And I'm actually gonna give you another really, really super cool free resource in another link. But basically you need three things. You need some kind of a camera to stream. For most of you, your iPhone
will work
is
fine.
Perfect. We happen to be using our son, who's a professional photographer. So we're streaming using his Sony A7R III or something.
Whatever.
It's an A7R.
So we have professional equipment here.
No. But that's the only really fancy piece, right?
No, this is a pretty fancy piece too.
It's like a $50 mic.
No.
Anyway, we've got 2 LED panels. You can get those for about $50 a piece. You can get a mic. You can get maybe not this particular mic.
I mean, this isn't a super high quality mic. I think this is like a $200 mic.
Maybe. Or you could get a wireless lav, or you can get a mic that plugs into your phone. So really, basically, you need some kind of a microphone to amplify your voice, or really more to capture it properly. You need a phone that's got a good camera, so like an iPhone 10, an iPhone 7, even those are fine, and some lighting. These are just inexpensive lighting panels. We've got the camera store from Muskegon on right now, and he says, I bet those are LED panels. We've got those in our store. I'm going to post an Amazon link on here just so you can see what they look like. This is exactly what you're seeing us use right now. But
we'd encourage you to go to your local camera store.
Local store, right?
In fact, from the camera shop, if you wouldn't mind putting your website if you sell online,
sure.
There you go. But so this is a great setup because Sammy and Joe really spent the time to dial it in and do all those things. I mean, and I'm impressed with the production quality. But we've been watching a lot of Facebook Lives, and there's people out there doing it with phones, and they look great.
Totally,
Natural light is beautiful. So here's the most important thing when it comes to this, is don't let perfection get in the way of progress. Don't let perfection get in the way of progress. It's more important that you get something done than that you get it done perfectly.
Yeah.
And, it's...
All right, there's the lights.
Okay.
I just put the lighting link in there. So here's the other thing is our friend David Lawrence, the 17th. Funny story why he has to have the 17th in his name. But he's an actor, and he's a voiceover coach. He's a radio personality. And he also happens to be a tech wizard. And he spends a lot of his time doing coaching for actors and voiceover talent. And he has created this course that he's actually put all of this video production knowledge into a course for teachers who are now all of a sudden, they're all having to try to teach their courses online like in 1 week, right? And they're like, I don't know what to do. So he made this course. It's like a 10-part course, I think. Normally he's going to offer it for $49 on how to do this exact setup. And he's offering it for free right now, you guys. I highly recommend that you take this course. We brought David in to our Platinum Mastermind group 2 different times to talk about exactly this stuff, like how to present on camera, how to get your setup. And he's like, it's like super down to earth, and he's super inspiring. So if you're at all concerned about doing Facebook Live, take David's course. It'll take you just a couple of hours. Fantastic information. I'm going to put the link in right now.
And here's what we did. He came in 2-3 years ago in a meeting in Phoenix, and then he came into our last meeting, which was in LA. He lives in LA. He's an actor. And the thing that I really took away from this year's session was a couple of people were very, very hesitant. I could never do video. It's not who they felt they were. And David got incredibly passionate about this whole idea of you are enough. You are enough. As long as you're authentic, as long as you're real, as long as you're trying, it's going to work. Not everybody is going to like it, but the people who like it are going to love it. I'll share another story with you. One of our clients had a great promotional idea, and she sent me the email she was going to send out. And it was a canned email from an email company that was a graphic that had 2 or 3 lines about this wonderful, wonderful cause market. It wasn't really a cause marketing, but this wonderful gesture she was doing for her community and first responders. And she says, I'm thinking about doing this thing. What do you think about this email? And I emailed her back and I said, that's the worst email I've ever seen in my life. I kind of let her have it. And I said, do me a favor. Make a video. It doesn't have to be great. You're authentic. Be real. Tell the people how you feel, what you're doing, and why you're doing it. This canned piece of graphics is not going to inspire any way, touch anybody in their heart in any way. And so then she laughed. She said, well, I had already sent it by the time I got your reply. She said, I sent it to over 10,000 people. I got 2 orders. I made a terrible video. It was janky. It didn't work very well. I got over, what did she say, 30 orders.
30 orders.
30 orders. You got to understand, her average sales around $500 or $600. So
that's a good day.
So, the point is her bad video done straight from the heart was so much more effective than a slick piece of marketing material. So
exactly. Everybody's saying, yeah, my customers love it when we're crazy and
or when you make a mistake.
When we make mistakes.
right. Yeah, that's right.
So which is why I just love Laura from Sweet Boutique. She's not afraid to get up there and look silly.
That's right.
And she's just herself. It's just so great. But it is nice for the people when they can see you properly and when they can hear you properly. So that the content of what you're doing and what you're saying is what they're focused on. They're not like, what is she saying?
Yeah.
I can't see them. Oh, now they're in the light. Now they're out of the light. Now they're in the light. Now they're out of the light. That's the kind of stuff that you want to try to, that all the technical setup just kind of minimizes all of that so they can just focus on you.
And so I'm going to share 2 other evolutions. If you go to WhizBangTrading.com /coronavirus, you can see all the episodes of our podcast. And if you go back, there's 22 now. If you go back to number 1, you'll see just how absolutely shitty the production value was, right? We just decided to start it. Then Joe and Sam came home. And then you can, if you just look at the image, you can see the progression of the production value.
Yeah.
And even when we got down here and put the bookshelf behind us, every day it gets a little better. When we had David out for the Platinum Mastermind group, we were in a mastermind with David. So we're friends, and we went out to dinner together. And he took us to his home studio, and he shared the fact that he's been in that home studio for a little over a year, and he showed the progression of the quality. Same space, same equipment, but he tweaked it a little bit. He turned this up, he turned this down. So the point is to start and then tweak it and then get better. Don't wait for perfection. Start and then make it better as you go. And pretty soon it's going to be dialed in.
Yeah, you'll love this, Bob. Danielle says she just posted her friend Terry Walls. She went live from a sauna wrapped in her towel.
There you go.
Showing how to do like self-care with
nice.
stuff. So, but yeah,
that's exactly right. So what else did I see? I saw
radical self-acceptance right there.
There was somebody else. Anyway, but no, great. That's the perfect kind of thing. You just got to figure out who you are. I mean, I assume you know who you are. Just don't be afraid to show it.
Yeah. Stephanie said they've been doing things like doing games on their Facebook Lives with some of their customers, like Name That Tune, things like that. So,
and those are all deposits into the emotional bank account.
Exactly. Mickey says, I hate to tell you, but I don't watch you because of your production quality. No, of course you don't. Of course you don't. You watch us for our content. But the production quality makes it easier to pay attention to what we're doing.
And so this is what our boys. So, Sam's a professional photographer. He's becoming a professional videographer also. Anyway. But what Joe and Sam said to us right away was, look, Mom and Dad, your content is great. But what happens is the people who are already in your community don't care about the production value at all. But there's going to be a certain percentage of people who find you for the first time and are going to judge you immediately on the quality of your production. So whether they stay or go will be affected by the quality of your production. And so it's just merely a matter of upping our game, which is what we're trying to do. And so, but Mickey, thank you for that nice thought, by the way.
That's good. So I just really wonder, just to switch topics away from Facebook Live for just a little bit. I'm wondering, just quick poll out there. have you? I wonder if can I do a poll in here? I don't think so. Have you already applied for your PPP? This is just for the U.S. retailers out there right now. Have you applied for the Paycheck Protection Program loan? Do you know if you are in the pending category? Have you been approved? Have you gotten your money yet? Or have you decided not to apply? So 5 choices. I decided not to apply. I've applied, haven't heard anything yet. I am pending. I'm approved, but I don't have my money yet. Or I got my money in the bank.
Hey, do me a favor while we're talking. I'll talk about this. Go see and check your email and see if we've been approved yet. We're in pending, but
we're pending.
So I do want to talk to somebody up the thread a little bit. Asked Facebook Live, too long, too short. Let me quickly answer that, and then we'll move on. It just depends on who you are. It depends on what you're talking about and what your topic is. This whole I'm afraid it's going to be too long or I'm afraid it's going to be too short, sort of ignores the fact that until you do one, you're never going to find out. So you do a half hour, and if it feels natural and you're holding people the entire time, go longer. If you do an hour and everybody's dropped off within the first 20 minutes, you have to go back. Everybody's business is different. Everybody's customer base is different. So your job is to just keep trying things and pay attention. One of the things that I do, I didn't in the beginning, but I'm doing now, is every day when I'm done with the podcast, I go back and I look at it. I look at the stats. I look at the viewership, because you can see there's a graph that shows you where people leave and things like that. You can see what the comments are happening in real time, and I'm watching it, and I'm learning lessons. I'm figuring it out. I mean, I don't know anything about it, but I'm figuring it out. But unless you start, you're never going to have the opportunity to figure out what's right, what's wrong. Just try it. You got it. Just try it. What do you got to lose? Nothing. So, okay.
Somebody, and I'm going to have to go back and get her name. Somebody said, where do I find out about the 6 steps to the perfect purchase? Because we've been kind of referencing that. That's a great question, and I'm very happy to answer that. The 6 steps to the perfect purchase. Trying to go back and get all your questions.
Yes. Is the sales training process that Susan and I created specifically for independent retailers. It was based on what I did, what we taught at the Mackinac Kite Company when I was in retail. But it is it's a process. It's a system to sell on the floor of your retail store. And there's 6 steps, and if you train your people in the 6 steps and they use this system on the floor, you are going to have tremendous success. Here's what I would like to suggest. If you want to learn more about the 6 steps to the perfect purchase, we teach the 6 steps in the Retail Sales Academy. The Retail Sales Academy is our online sales training platform. It was created for you. It was created for independent retailers. And there is a free free-day trial. A free 3-day trial.
3-day free trial.
Didn't I say that? Did I say it wrong?
3-day.
I've been saying a lot of words
free
these
trial.
last few weeks.
A lot of words.
3-day free trial. And if you go to Retail Sales Academy, she's posting it in there right now. You can get in. You can get in and go through the basic certification, which is about 3.5 hours, where I'll teach you the 6 steps to the perfect purchase. The Retail Sales Academy was actually created for your team members. It wasn't created for you to teach sales training. It was created so that all you have to do is put your team members into the Retail Sales Academy. I'll teach them how to sell. And then there's lots more to the Retail Sales Academy. But that's all I want to share with you right now, is that to your question, it is the sales training process that we created, customer-friendly sales training process designed specifically for independent retailers. You won't find anything better than it. End of story, period. If I can so humbly say.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of people, big variety. A lot of people have applied. Almost everybody says yes, they've applied. They're pending. A few people have said that they've been approved. I haven't seen anybody yet saying that they got the money.
We have one person in the Platinum Mastermind, two who have gotten the money.
That got the money. So let's see. Okay, here's somebody who decided not to apply. And so but most people have applied and are pending, same as us. We're still pending. I got it. We got another email today. It's saying you're still pending.
Oh, we did. Okay, because we talked about it earlier after the podcast. So let's go back to something that we've been talking about in the podcast. This whole idea of AAA, assess, adjust, advance. You know, all of these things. You know, where are you now? What do you need to do to make your circumstances better? And then when you make that adjustment, you're moving on and getting closer. And this PPP and the CARES Act has been a great example of using AAA to keep your sanity. Until you know something, that's the assessment. So, they kind of made it sound like a lot of money was going to be coming rather quickly, and it hasn't turned out that way. It's been 3 weeks that the thing was passed. Yes. So I'd say it's pretty fast for giving away all. I mean, that's the thing about, I wanted to talk about this at some point today, is like, man, the government can really make you mad sometimes, and the customers can really make you mad sometimes, and your husband can really make you mad sometimes during pandemic. I don't ever make you mad.
And your kids can really make you mad. And you yourself.
Your husband makes you so happy.
You can probably make yourself really mad sometimes during this pandemic. Man, it's hard. All this stuff is hard. And I feel like, we should all just try to give everybody an extra bit of a break, extra grace, extra compassion that, everybody's trying to do the best they can. Nobody's trying to make people worse during this time period. And we just all have to, those crazy customers that drive you nuts, just to Bob's point, just bam. So, breathe, accept, and move on. Yes. Because there are lots of them, right?
Good.
I'm keep going. I'm just looking to see if there's any questions that I've missed.
Okay, good. It is true. You think about it. The United States government wrote a 700 or 800 page bill. God knows what goes into an 800 page bill, and tried to build the infrastructure to give away $3 trillion in a matter of 3 or 4 weeks. That's asking a lot, particularly of a bureaucracy like the United States government. And I know that, so we have people in the Platinum Mastermind group who are from England, several people who are from Canada, and the frustrations are all the same there. The politicians work hard to put something together, but then there's all these holes in the bill because you can't get it right in a week. So yes, patience.
It's hard. It's hard to be patient, but we just all have to have a little bit of patience. So.
Yes.
Good. I don't know if I've missed any other questions. I've been trying to keep it up.
Okay, good. Well, it's
2:10.
2:10. So,
Let's just ask if anybody has any other last questions for us before we go. And otherwise, we'll see you next week.
So I'll tell you what. Let me just sort of wrap things up while we're waiting to see if there's any more questions. Mm-hmm. So Susan and I are profoundly grateful that you've chosen to participate in all that we're doing around this pandemic. It's just been so gratifying to us that you've sort of let us into your life, and we're just thankful for it. And if you are interested, like if you're watching this and you liked it, I know that last week's community forum was awesome. There were just a ton of great ideas. And now we're on podcast number 22. Every 5 days a week, I'm doing a morning podcast that's broadcast on Facebook Live. But if you want a whole bunch of WhizBang, please go to we call it our binge page. If you go to whizbangtraining.com/coronavirus, all the community forums and all of the podcasts and some really, really good interviews are all posted there. And we're going to keep doing what we can to, give you the information that you need to keep moving forward, because, we are really, really in this together. And we really look forward, Susan and I know all of you, even more than us, really look forward to when this is all said and done. And I just can't stress it strongly enough that if you keep learning during this, and you keep moving forward doing this, and you keep being brave during this, that when it's done, you're going to be better than ever. There's going to be fewer stores, and you're going to be able to take advantage of all of the things that you've learned during this pandemic, that you are going to be better than ever, and that we as a community of small to mid-sized brick and mortar independent retailers are going to be better than ever. I firmly believe that in the next 5 to 10 years, small to mid-sized independent brick and mortar retailers are going to be the standard for retail. That if somebody lives in your town and you're a bike shop, they're not going to go to Amazon. They're not going to go to the big box store. They're going to ask themselves, what bike shop in my town should I shop? Yep. Women's clothing, toys, that we will become the first choice. But we just have to keep moving forward. No. Any other questions?
Nancy says, are you collecting sales tax on your website? For sure, in your own town you should be, or if you're in your own state.
Yep.
And let's see here. Gloria, tiered rates on a brand new online shop. I don't think I understand your question, Gloria. Tiered rates. Do you?
I think what she might be asking is that some people have a website price and an in-store price. And Gloria, if that's what you're doing, I strongly recommend against that as a practice. I know people who have, so they have a brick and mortar store and they have a website and e-commerce attached to that brick and mortar store, but then they sell some of their same merchandise at a discount, but that e-commerce site is an entirely different brand because you don't want your website to compete with your store. If you want to sell at a discount, if you want to play that game, have a different brand sat over here that has no obvious connection to you.
She's asking about shipping rates, actually. She says,
okay. I'm sorry.
There's a whole bunch of different ways to do shipping rates, so it depends. Are you you can decide to do shipping rates per dollar amount. And it depends on what you sell. You sell heavy things, light things, big things, little things, a combination of things. You can sell actual postage. You can connect your website to the UPS or USPS. So you're getting some good advice here from folks. And it's a great question, Gloria. I would go to WhizBang Retailers, to the website,
great idea.
to our Facebook group, WhizBang Retailers, and ask there what people are finding the best. So a lot of it's going to depend really on where you live, what you sell, and how far away you're sending most of your merchandise. So great. Cherie says, thanks for the positive message. Marie says, good. We are her light and strength to keep going. So Marie, we love you.
There you go.
We'll end on that one.
We'll end on that one. So, all right. Everybody, here comes Sammy to turn things off. They've been upstairs waiting for the signal. There wasn't really a signal.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right, everybody. Thank you again.
We're
so honored that you're here. Bye-bye.